Quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production.
Roll sound.
Rolling.
Sound production. Take 2.
Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. Remember those childhood movies you loved? Now, we're going to watch them again and find out if they're still as amazing as you remember. Or, your father was right. You were an idiot, and everything you watched was stupid. So buckle up, movie aficionados. Over-the-top gore? Check. Over-embellished action? Check. Gratuitous nudity? Double check. Storylines so absurd you could drive a semi-truck through those plot holes. Oh yeah, some of those movies didn't even know what a movie plot was. And that's the way we liked it. Now, here's your hosts, Anna Santos and Jimmy Coates.
Yeah, just in case.
Yeah.
Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. Today we are going back to the 90s, the early 90s, to a movie that, like I said before, that I kind of forgot about completely, but I do remember liking, and it's Toy Soldiers.
This is probably one of my favorite movies. I'm surprised it's been as long as it has been since I've watched it. Because this was one of those where every time it came on TV, I watched it religiously. I'd stop whatever I was doing. I'd be late to things. I'm like, Toy Soldiers is on. I have to watch it.
Was this like a crush thing or
No, because the first time I saw it was probably in the early to mid 2000s. So like a
Oh,
full
wow.
decade after it came out was the first time I ever saw it. I think it was on not AMC. I think it was on A&E the first time I saw it. So I was like, oh, and it's been on AMC a few times. But I was like, oh, what's this? Because I saw Will Wheaton. And I was like, oh, and then Sean Astin. And I was like, oh, they did a movie together? Oh, okay. And then I was like, ooh, Louis Gossett Jr. Love him. So I just started watching this random movie that I knew nothing about. And then I was like, oh my God, this movie is so much fun. So I just kept watching it every time it came on because it has just enough ridiculous and just enough trauma. You're like, this is a good one.
Well, it's directed by Daniel Petrie Jr., and he isn't a great director. Well, that's not fair. His movies aren't that great. Well, not this one I remember liking, but
Yeah.
his writing is fantastic. And now, okay, so he directed Toy Soldiers, In the Army Now with Pauly Shore,
Mm.
a movie called Toe Tags, Dead Silence, not the horror mannequin one, the little puppet.
Yeah, that one is
Uh,
freaky.
Some movie called Frame, Stranded, Rosemount. I've never heard of these movies, but as a writer, he wrote Beverly Hills Cop, The Big Easy, Beverly Hills Cop 2, Shoot to Kill, Turner and Hooch, Toy Soldiers, Beverly Hills Cop 3, In the Army Now. So yeah, so he's done okay. And like you said, it has a great cast. Like
Oh,
Will
such a great
Wheaton,
cast.
Sean Astin. Like I still like those guys, like when they pop up.
Yep. It's funny though, because you see a lot of the actors who are playing the kids, and you do end up recognizing a lot of them where you're like, I've seen your face,
Yeah.
just older.
R. Lee Emery is in it. He's the crazy army dude from. He's a sergeant from Full Metal Jacket. I love
Yep.
Louis Gossett Jr. As a kid, he was in so many movies I watched because he did so many different types. From like, I didn't want to watch An Officer and a Gentleman when I was a kid, but I liked that one with Dennis Quaid where he was an alien.
Yep.
Enemy Mine, I think it was. Iron Eagle,
Mhm.
The Punisher with Dolph Lundgren. He's been in tons. So
Oh
many.
yeah, no, he's had a prolific career.
Yeah.
He
And
had a prolific career. Oh,
is he dead?
yeah, he died in March.
Oh, he just died. Oh,
Yeah.
that sucks.
Oh, R.I.P.
Thanks, Louis Gossett Jr., for all that you gave us. Yeah. Oh yeah, Jaws 3D,
Yeah.
Roots.
He's been in a lot of stuff, and he was such an incredible actor.
Yeah, he was. And 211 credits on IMDb. So yeah. All right. So box office for Toy Soldiers. It was released in April 26, 1991, with a budget of $10 million, and it made just over $15 million.
That does not surprise me.
No. But as we discussed then, the marketing would not have been huge for this movie.
No.
So it could have squeaked out a bit of a profit.
Mm-hmm.
It opened at number 3 with 4.1 million behind newcomers Oscar. That's the Rocky, what's his name? Jesus, Sylvester Stallone, the comedy, his first comedy,
Oh, I forgot.
which
that
I
movie
actually remember
existed.
liking. And that was number 1, and A Kiss Before Dying was number 2. It dropped to 4th and then 8th in its second and third weekend. It then dropped to 12th place in its 4th weekend before dropping out of the majority of theaters. It did stay in a handful of theaters for 35 weeks, where it earned another almost $4 million before leaving theaters completely.
I mean, makes sense.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the tail of the tape. There's our VHS copy. Like I said, April 26, 1991. It is an action. It is rated R, which I'm surprised. And it comes in at an hour and 52 minutes.
Really? It's that long?
Yeah.
I don't
Longer
remember it
if it was
feeling
on
that long.
TV.
Yeah, I don't remember
Unless it
feeling
was,
that long.
remember Edit for TV?
Oh God, yeah.
And it'd be a movie you've seen it like 100 times, and you're going, where'd the scene go? Where'd that fucking scene go? They didn't show the scene. Taglines. Terrorists have taken over Regis Academy, and they're about to receive a lesson they will never forget.
That's too wordy for a tagline.
Terrorists just took over their school. The students have no weapons and no way out. The only chance they've got is each other.
That's terrible.
Misfits, underachievers, rebels, and these are the good guys.
That's not bad.
The students of Regis Academy have been kicked out of the best prep schools in America. Now terrorists have taken the campus, and years of bad behavior are about to pay off.
Who wrote these? Starting to
The
understand why it didn't do well.
synopsis, yeah. Colombian terrorist Luis Cali, Andrew Divoff, he's one of those guys where you might not know his name, but his face.
100%.
Yeah, takes an American prep school hostage as a means of gaining his drug lord father's freedom. Privileged yet rebellious students Joey, Will Wheaton, Billy, Sean Astin, Snuffy, Keith Coogan, and Hank, T.E. Russell, find that they are better equipped to deal with the threat than the mostly ineffectual government agencies sent to rescue them. With resourceful Billy as their leader, the students struggle to defeat the terrorists and save the school.
Sounds about right.
And here is the poster. I don't remember this poster. I think I remember like the VHS or DVD way more. And for those listening, it's the Misfits, Underachievers, Rebels, the boys of the Regis School have been kicked out of the best prep schools in America. Terrorists just took over their campus. Now years of bad behavior are about to pay off. And it has basically the 5 kid stars along the top, and just below them is kind of like a drawing of their campus and then toy soldiers. It's okay. It's not a great poster. Actually, poster kind of sucks.
I think they were going for like high drama.
Yeah.
Which is probably why it was not marketed right. Because when you have a bunch of like teenage boys who were like, you know, the rebels and the bad boys, like trying to, this feels too serious.
Yeah.
For
yeah,
what
it should be like
of the movie is.
Explosions and.
Yeah, like give us something a little more interesting. They're going for like high drama. This is not a high drama.
No. Plus rated R. I mean, you just lost the kids who probably want to see this the most.
Yeah, you're not going to get the teenagers, which is really who this movie should have been marketed to. But I mean, I kind of get it because I mean, 1991, there's a lot of like drinking, swearing, explosions, smoking.
Yeah, might not be as bad as you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also find as I'm getting older, the best example you ever watch that show, The 100?
Yes.
And it's an all right show. I never saw the whole thing.
Last season's a little bit of a
yeah. But I remember they going down and she's telling them what to do, the main character.
Yeah.
And they're like, why should we listen to you? And the guy's like, well, her mom's a doctor, so we should better listen to her. And I realize I'm like, kids are stupid. And this would never happen. And like this, the toy soldiers, these kids would be dead in 10 minutes. And it's like,
I mean, but when you see who their fathers are, there's at least one. It's really funny because there's one kid who really should have survived to the end, but he's the one that didn't. And you're like, with the father you have, you should have been the one to live to the end.
All right, let's go to Rotten Tomatoes. 17 critic reviews comes in at 41%. 25,000 audience reviews comes in at 66%.
Pretty
Big,
good.
yeah, pretty big gap there.
Yeah.
And that's the poster, or that poster, that's the cover I actually remember more of. Yeah. Which actually even that looks better with the helicopter and the people coming down off the helicopter. Yeah. All right, let's start with the positive reviews and you may begin.
I'm ready. This isn't a slick PG ode to the rah-rah antics of the Rambo sequels. Instead, the teenagers and teachers are as likely to die as the terrorists in this violent R-rated endeavor. Matt Brenson, Film Frenzy, 2.5 out of 4.
Sold. That sells me. Yeah. Fun, but unbelievable. Good for a Sunday in pajama. Louis Martinez, Cineganos?
Yeah,
Cineganos. 3 out of 5.
Dumb but fun. Robin Clifford, Reeling Reviews, 3 out of 5. Thank you, Robin.
Yeah. It transports you back, not to the 1950s, but to a time when, wait a minute. That doesn't make sense.
That's not the right one.
No. Okay, I'll start with Rotten.
Okay.
I don't know what the fuck that was. It at least has some quiche value for its insistence that Sean Astin can be a hard-nosed action hero. Fields Vasquez Jr., cinema crazed.
Kitsch value.
Kitsch value, that's right.
You said quiche, and I was like,
quiche.
Quiche.
Yeah.
Quiche Lorraine. Toy Soldiers, a film with earnest performances and professional production values, is constructed out of characters, situations, and gimmicks that will be instantly recognized by the wary viewer. There is nothing new here. Roger Ebert, Chicago Sun-Times, 1 out of 4. Mr. Ebert, I was not asking for anything new.
No, the fact that it has good performances and good production values, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm done.
A run-of-the-mill action movie is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
All right, IMDb. Internet Movie Database, 25,000 user rated, comes in at 6.6 out of 10, exactly the same score as the audience in Rotten Tomatoes. You may go.
A comedic action-filled movie that everyone needs to see, 10 out of 10. Loser Poo Poo, 182.
Like, that's why I picked that one. Loser
I mean, I would too. Let's be real.
Quite simply, one of the most enjoyable B movies from the 90s. 9 out of 10, Mean 1. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
For someone that's called Mean.
Ridiculous, but fun. 8 out of 10. Preppy 3.
Kind of a running theme going here.
Yeah.
Die Hard, in a school with teenagers. 7 out of 10. All movies fan.
I mean, kind of accurate. Unreal, but watchable thriller. 6 out of 10. Snoopy style.
Whatever you do, don't think. 5 out of 10. Restless Rust, and that was the only 5 out of 10.
And that's the only one we need.
Yep.
Toy Soldiers, 4 out of 10. Fubs. Or P-Hubs, depending on who you are.
And that was the only one to pick. So that was it. It was just Toy Soldiers. That was it. We all fall down like toy soldiers. 3 out of 10. F. Markland, 32. And that was the only one on 310. That's
there are no 2 out of 10.
There are only 10. So you may take the last one.
Oh, thank you. Obnoxious 90s flick. 1 out of 10. Jacob Nunnally.
And there was only 2 to choose from. And I think the other one was like Toy Soldiers. 1 out of 10.
I like that someone used the lyric.
Yeah.
From, I think it was Martika's song. Was it Martika? I want to say yes.
All right. So we went over anything. What do you remember of this movie? Like, what's
I remember it being just like a solid action movie. It gives you the setup, you get the introduction of the characters. I actually remember quite a bit of this movie, like quite a bit, which is surprising. Because it's probably been at least 7, if not 10 years since I've seen it.
Yeah, see, I haven't seen this since the 90s.
Yeah, no, it's been a while, but I watched it really regularly before that. But it's a solid action movie that I like as I remember it. Just like the kids are the heroes, and the
So you,
adults seem to be fumbling fools.
so you would put money on this one.
Yeah,
All right, well, let's watch the trailer and then make our predictions.
The Regis School for Boys, where the country's best families
Hey, bring that back here.
send the world's worst students.
If you're gonna kick me out, kick me out.
They'd make 4 prep schools in 4 years. You're trying for the Guinness Book of Records?
But these boys are in for a real shock.
If you do not produce my father unharmed, I will begin executing the hostages.
I'm sure by now you have discovered who their parents are.
Chairman of the Armed Services Committee, Vice Chairman of the Republican Party.
What does your father do, William?
Contractor. According to this, he owns the 3rd largest construction company in the world.
Yeah, he's a contractor.
My boys, many of them, they have a real problem with authority.
Are you with me or not?
Of course we're with you.
But if you get a shot, we're gonna be PO'd.
I have an assault force in the staging area 5 minutes away.
I've seen these orange wires. These are wired to explosives.
The kid can get the other students out of line of fire.
If any one of these wires is cut, they will explode.
This kid has been kicked out of 2 schools.
3 schools.
No. That's double.
He's got guts. He's a leader. Billy says he can do it. I gotta believe he can.
That's the signal. You're right. We're really gonna do this? You bet. Pilot ready.
Toy soldiers.
All right. Well, it looks kind of like a lot of the reviews. Ridiculous, but seeing the thing, I do remember a little bit more after seeing and I do
Yeah.
remember liking it. It was, yeah, an R-rated action film with kids in it. And I remember being kind of cool.
I
think-
remember loving this movie.
Yeah, I
One
think
of my
you're gonna like
comfort
it.
films.
90s.
90s obnoxious rich teenage boys.
Yeah.
Fight terrorists.
Yeah.
I mean, perfectly reasonable.
Totally could happen.
100%. 100%.
All right, well, we're gonna go watch Toy Soldiers from 1991, and when we get back, we are going to review it.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
And now, on with the show.
Welcome back, everyone. Did you watch 1991's Toy Soldiers?
Yeah, I totally did.
And
totally
your
did.
initial thoughts?
I still love it. I
course
still
you do.
absolutely. What's not to love? It was cheesy. It was slightly ridiculous, but not out of the realm of possibility. There were lots of explosions, some interesting extra actors falling down on the job.
Yeah.
It was, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I was kind of sad when it was done. What are your thoughts?
No, I actually liked watching it. It was completely unrealistic, but so are a lot of movies.
I was gonna say.
In reality, these kids would have died so quickly. Like, these kids probably would not have even tried this. Like me, they would have just cried and peed their pants when the terrorists yelled at them. A lot of nostalgia here. I can see why I really liked it back then. It was pretty violent and graphic for this type of movie. Well, it was rated R, so it wasn't a surprise, but it really felt like a kid's movie. And it had a lot of blood, a lot of gunshots, a lot of explosions.
A lot of people falling from high places.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about the entire beginning of it. And I was like, oh, people are just falling through the sky.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go over this movie. Okay, first, let's acknowledge the production house. Haven't seen this in a while. I saw it and I'm like, fuck yeah. The horse running at that TriStar logo.
Yep.
And you're like, is it gonna make it? It's gonna make it. Fucking horse grows wings and flies over top. It's been a minute or two since I saw that opening logo shot. It put me in a great mood immediately.
Yeah.
So remember the one with the tiger that runs through the jungle?
I do.
Or that Orion in the stars and just some movies that really bring back memories of enjoying the movie as a kid.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Barranquilla, Colombia? Barranquilla?
Barranquilla.
Is this even a real place? Did they just make this up?
No, it's a real place.
Oh, is it real?
It's a real place, yeah.
That's a stupid name. Terrorist Luis Cali has taken over the Palace of Justice with a team of mercenaries. He demands the release of his drug kingpin father, Enrique Cali, only to learn that his father has already been extradited to the United States to stand trial. Throws a broad out the window to show he's serious.
Yes, because he thinks the judge is lying.
Yeah.
When the judge is like, dude, you're too late. And Luis is like, no, the plane hasn't left yet. And he's like, you're looking at the wrong plane. He left off of a military base. And Luis is like, no, that's not true. And then he like signals to his little friend to toss the woman out of the window.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my, and then they give us a close-up of her like splattered on the steps.
Yeah, that was great. And if you're a terrorist or hostage, you're taking hostages, bank robbers, that's pretty standard. You don't throw a dude out the window. No one takes you serious just chucking some guy out the window.
Yeah, no, at that point, they're like, you're just batshit crazy.
Yeah, you want to be taken serious?
Everybody agrees.
Broad. Really serious? Kid, puppy, baby. Then they know you're not fucking around. You start tossing babies like water balloons, people stand up and take notice.
But the best part was, he was like, he tells the judge, you're lying to me, like, no. And the judge is like, dude, I can't, like, we can't get him. He's gone.
You can't just make him up here.
So then they push the woman out the window, and then somehow they get a news report basically saying, so he was flown in this morning and he just landed at the Homestead Air Force Base near Miami.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, what? And then he's like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, they escape by helicopter, and with the weapons and logistics assistance of Luis's second in command, an American named Jack Thorpe, they enter the U.S. through Mexico. They also toss the judge out of the helicopter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They force him to
very high up.
They fly up, they start flying away, and then he's like, no, let go of your hands. Let go of your hands. And then he pushes the judge out.
Yeah. Yeah, because that motherfucker was falling, like free falling. Like he
For
was in
a while,
Tom Petty's music video.
And they used it as a transition to take him to the school.
Yeah.
You just had the judge like superimposed on top of air.
Yeah. Yeah, because he falls. And I'm like, how the fuck did that helicopter get that high up? And then it just stops.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought after a certain height, the air gets so thin that the rotors can't, I don't know, rotor tape.
No, they were not that high up that it would take him that long to fall.
No, that's what I mean. I just realized that they paused it. Like they just
Yeah.
And I hated as a kid seeing the parachute, like not seeing it, but noticing how bulky the actor or stuntman were.
Yeah.
Like you could really see it on this one. And like as a kid, you're like, parachute, what a wuss. Like it could be done any other way. Now I appreciate the safety aspect of it now, but as a kid, you're like, oh, he's wearing a parachute.
Yeah, but now they're in a studio and they're like mocking it up with like, you know that indoor parachuting thing that they do?
Yeah, with the
Yeah, with the air in the tube, and they're like, we'll just CGI. It's fine.
Yeah.
Not this guy. He had to jump out of an airplane.
Nope, he jumped right out. In the United States, the Regis High School is a prep school for teenage boys with wealthy and influential parents, many of whom have been expelled from other schools. A group of pranksters led by Billy Tepper, that includes Billy's best friend Joey Trotta and Hank Giles, Ricky Montoya, Snuffy Bradbury, and Phil Donahue.
Bill Donahue.
Yeah, okay. Are carefully watched over their teachers and the stern but well-meaning Dean Edward Parker. That's Louis Gossett Jr. So the kids are on a jog or run, and a couple of them take the security guard's baton and play monkey in the middle or keep away, tossing it with each other, while Billy and Joey and the blonde kid stay behind and tag the school sign. Two things. Security guard, nerd, told a beta he should have shot one in the leg just to set some boundaries. That's what I would have done. Second, their tagging skills for shit.
Oh, they were taking forever to write. I was getting annoyed.
Yeah, it was
I was getting annoyed. I
God.
was like, why are you taking so long? And it still looks like shit.
Yeah.
And it was so, I was like, man, you guys suck at this.
Yeah,
You
you're
suck.
definitely some privileged white children.
Right?
Yeah.
You can tell they grew up in the, apparently the really nice neighborhoods where they don't know how to graffiti.
We also get, because it's not in here, that we get them sneaking off to the basement, drinking vodkas disguised as mouthwash because it has that peppermint
schnapps and creme de menthe.
Right. They tap into the phone line to call 1-900 numbers. And for all kids listening, because this is a kind of funny scene, and I get why it's rated R, because there's a lot of swearing, there's a lot of masturbation talk. And then there's the 1-900. Pornhub was not a thing in 1991.
No. If you wanted like
readily
porn off
available
the internet.
Yeah, internet wasn't really in homes, a lot of homes in 1991. Not really that. What was it? Hold on, I wrote it down. 1995, it was like less than 1% of the homes had internet.
Yeah.
And it took 45 minutes to download a picture of a chick with boobies. So
A video, you're looking at days. Days to
not video, a picture. Just a picture.
No, a picture takes out.
Yeah.
But if you were to download a video,
oh my God.
days.
Yeah, days.
Unless
For
you
I
had
remember
a supercomputer, you were there for days.
we got it in the mid 90s, and a song. Oh, Jesus. But it was really cool.
We got it.
You could get a song in a day, like 24 hours.
Yeah. In 1993, but you had to do it overnight. Because you couldn't.
Oh, yeah. You couldn't hog the internet. Yeah. Or the phone.
Because there was a phone line that was busy while you were using the internet. We got it because my brother went into university. So he was like, well, I need it for school. That's also the reason why we got a computer. And then I happened to probably end up using it more than him. So by the time I was 15, we had the internet. We had the phone line that you had to plug into the computer. And then it was terrible.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so we had magazines, VHS tapes, strip clubs, and 900 numbers where you did not see a woman. You just heard her, like on this movie. She would assure you that she was an actual woman and very attractive. You had no way to verify it. You probably didn't care. As long as she was talking dirty to you. Yeah, it was medieval times, dude. It was the dark ages. I that was the 90s. I don't even want to tell you what they did in the 60s or 70s. I don't know what they did in the 60s. Probably had to draw their own pictures.
Dirty movie theaters.
And if you weren't a good drawer, you would have to touch yourself to stick figures with circles as boobies.
You seem way too well informed about this. This is what you did when you were a kid, wasn't it? Perv.
Yeah, just stick figures with circles. Ooh. Phil's father is a federal judge presiding over Enrique Cali's trial, so the entire family is taken to a safe location as a precaution. Unaware of this, Louis Cali and his men invade the school to capture the boy, killing the campus police officer and faculty member who intervenes. Yeah, the security goes for his gun. So not as beta as me, because they would have been like, get in the van, and I would have been like, yep, cool.
I don't even know if the security went for his gun. Did he?
Yeah, he did.
I thought he just got shot straight up when they were
because
driving
they told him
in.
to get in the van, and he went
Oh.
he saw their guns and
Gotcha.
went for it. Dummy.
I apparently they paid him very well. He had a really great dental plan, and he was like, "I'm going to try to save the kids."
Yeah.
Stupid.
This was a cool opening. The kids hear some shooting. The guy walks in the cafeteria, points a machine gun in the air, and just lets it unload. They set up lookout posts with heavy firearms and rigged the campus with C3 explosives. C3 and C4.
No, these are C3.
C3. That's right. There was C3. Yeah, it was odd because when you watch a movie, it's usually C4.
It's always
This
they
is
always talk about
C3.
C4.
Yeah.
I think C3 is like, I don't want to say street explosives because that's not correct, but C4 is like military grade. So I don't
Yes.
think they were using military grade explosives, which does not bode well for anyone.
No, they got this out of a van somewhere down the cheap. With Phil now nowhere to be found but with the sons of numerous influential individuals in his grasp, Louis takes the entire school hostage. Because one is the president of like a bank, like the whole brand of banks.
Well, it's funny because it starts because the whole basement internet scene is after Phil's already. We only see Phil for literally 30 seconds.
Yeah,
I'd also like to point out that he was probably the only kid actor, and I say kid, most of them were 18, 19 years old, but or 20. But he was the only one who wasn't very good.
Yeah.
He kind of
the other
looked
ones-
dazed for the entire thing, but they get him out. Then they masturbate in the basement while drinking mouthwash. It was very nice. They get caught by the dean, Louis Gossett Jr., who is just going in on Billy and just being like, "No, we're gonna collect all the booze."
Yeah, I did
that
like
you've
that
distributed."
part.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, if you're gonna expel me. Just don't make me look like a narc.
Yeah, and he's like,
Yeah.
"No, I'm not gonna expel you. I'm gonna keep you here till you graduate." Like,
Yeah.
that's the threat.
That's the punishment.
So Billy collects all the booze from everybody because he's like, "Can you at least let me collect it?"
Yeah.
Instead of like knocking on everybody's doors. And he's like, "Fine, I want all 8 bottles that you sold to these kids. $35 a bottle." I was like, damn. It's very enterprising. Anyways,
Yeah,
he gets
made
the
some
bottles
money.
back. Then Billy wants to get revenge, right? But then Joey is like, "Dude, I want to go to sleep."
Yeah.
And Billy's like, "Nah, I can't look like a fool. I gotta do something." So then they take all of the headmaster's furniture
That's
out
right.
of his office and they set it up on the lawn
Perfectly. Yeah.
exactly how he left it the night before in his office. And you kind of see, like, from the headmaster and the dean, they actually like the kids and they're like,
Yes.
don't laugh. And I think this is a really important scene because they're not like overly stern. Like, they are stern because, authority figures, yada yada, but they like these kids.
Yeah.
And they're like, "This is actually really kind of cool. This is very smart. Well, shit, we can't encourage this. God damn it." So then everybody gets in trouble. It's all fine. Phil Donahue leaves with the Rangers. Luis comes in, kills the guard, shoots up the thing, asks the headmaster, "Where is Phil Donahue?" He's like, "He's gone. Rangers took him." "You don't know where he is?" "I don't know where he is." And I like the headmaster because the headmaster kind of has a little like, "Are you stupid? I don't know." Which I really appreciate. And we realize this is the second time Luis has been 2 steps behind.
Yeah.
First,
Yeah.
his dad got smuggled out of Colombia and he had no idea. And then they took away Phil Donahue's kid before he could even get into the school. And he still sucks to be him. So then he realizes, oh, but we can still use these other kids. So like Billy's dad is the owner and I think the CEO of the 3rd largest construction company in the world.
Yeah.
But Billy being a bit of a rebel, when he's asked what his dad does, he's like, "Contractor."
Yeah.
And Luis is like, "Nah, he's the 3rd biggest owner of a construction company in the world." And he's like, yeah. Contractor.
Yeah, contractor.
That's what he does. He builds shit.
One is the crime boss, a mafia crime boss of New Jersey. I did like that scene with the FBI excuse me, talking to the headmaster and or the dean, and he's like, "Do you know the head of the New Jersey Mafia is here?" He's like, "Yeah, his son goes here."
Yeah. He's like, yeah. And Jerry Orbach was the head of the New Jersey Mafia. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, Jerry, I love you. You're the ultimate dad.
Well, I was gonna say he wasn't that great in Dirty Dancing, but he came around at the end.
He came around and it took him a while. Okay.
Because he was
He
always
had
putting
to-
baby in the corner, and
But
I hate
then,
that movie.
with honestly, I used to love that movie. And then
Yeah.
I don't know, I watched it maybe 10 years ago and I was like, this doesn't feel the same. So I'm curious to see how I feel about it now. I might make you watch it for the podcast.
Yeah, do it around Valentine's.
Sounds good to me. But anyways, they go through the various students and they pick mostly the students that are the highlighted kids.
Yeah.
So you find out about Snuffy's dad, who I think is the president of the bank. Ricky Montoya, his dad was, I forget, was he in government? Or was that Hank?
He was the leader, a leader, or the main. I can't remember now.
I can't remember either, but some of them had like political affiliations. A lot of them had.
He had a political affiliation. And
Yeah.
it's like, do you know Spanish? He's like, nah, not really. And then he said in Spanish, shoot him. And he's like, whoa, I know a little bit.
He's like, wait, I know a little bit. But also, I'm like, are you telling me he's the only student who knows Spanish? You're telling me there's not a white kid that took enough Spanish or had, a Mexican nanny? Because we know it happened, or a Guatemalan nanny. I'm like, some of you rich white kids had a Latina nanny or housekeeper that taught you Spanish.
Wish I had a housekeeper now.
I wish I had a house. My mother was the housekeeper. She didn't get to speak Portuguese though, because most of the kids were grown. But anyway, that's the point.
Underestimating the threat, the local sheriff attempts to intervene, but is repelled by heavy weapon fire. So actually, Louis Gossett Jr., the dean, is trying to blackmail the sheriff, who wants to bust the kids for spray painting his car.
Mhm.
Not very well either. Same with the sign. And Louis Gossett Jr. is like, okay, but I confiscated a bunch of alcohol that is your brother or your brother-in-law sold it to them out of his liquor store. Then they get the call that the shooting is going on. They go over there, and that's when they blow up the one car and fire the rockets at it.
Yeah, because Louis Gossett Jr. is like, dude, you got to call in the FBI, the state police. Like, this is not like a rinky-dink like operation. And he's like, nah, I got this.
Yeah.
So he gets his other two deputies to grab their shotguns and get in the back seat of his car. Then he gets on his own megaphone. He's like, I'm coming in. We're going to talk. I'm unarmed and I'm alone. He drives up a little bit and they're like, fuck this shit, shoot him. So they shoot up the car.
You really loved this movie, didn't you?
I love this movie.
Like, you are putting Wikipedia. You should have wrote the synopsis for Wikipedia.
Well,
Jesus Christ.
It's important because this shows, first of all, Louis Gossett Jr., the dean, is way smarter than apparently everybody else at knowing what this situation is about. And two, the sheriff really is a fucking fool. Because then they all run out of the car and then it gets like hit with a rocket launcher. And I love it when a car blows up. I love it.
Yeah, it's cool. Was it me, or was the sheet over the dead security guard with his arms hanging out kind of weird? I guess they couldn't move the body.
I know, but really, a white sheet?
A white sheet, and then
carry it in the back of
arms are
your...
just...
But it's funny because they arrive and he's already covered with the white sheet. But I don't remember seeing paramedics. I just saw cops.
Just cops. Yeah. Oh,
So
was there paramedics?
I don't think
No,
there was.
I don't think there was.
So a cop car got there.
Yeah.
Somebody
Had a
reported
sheet
the
in the
shooting.
back,
It
thank
wasn't
goodness.
anybody in the school though. Because that one kid tried to call
911.
911 and then he
got
got
shot
shot
at, and that's when the teacher intervened and he got shot.
He's like, don't shoot at him. So they shot him in the head. And I was
Yeah.
like, you look like you live in the library, sir. You did not deserve to die like that.
Yeah. I would have came out and gave the student trouble for giving the terrorist a hard time. Get out of that. Get off that phone. How dare you?
This is why you're not a teacher.
The state police, FBI, and U.S. Army are called in, keeping their distance to avoid provoking the terrorists. Jack arms the explosives with a detonator wired to remote control gadget. Hold on, let me read that. Okay, Jack is the white guy with the glasses. Arms the explosives with a detonator wired to a remote control gadget. Louis tapes to the back of his hand. Actually, it's his wrist, isn't it?
It's his wrist, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a garage door opener.
Yeah. Louis warns the authorities he will set off the explosives should they attack the school. He releases the school faculty except for the cooks and the headmaster, Dr. Robert Gould, demanding his father's release in exchange for the hostages, and institutes hourly head counts.
FYI, I think your camera moved.
Oh, it did move. How did I do that?
I have no idea. It just started shifting all of a sudden. It is Friday the 13th. I'm just saying.
Good thing I put my laundry down.
My
bikini underwear would be showing.
Ew.
You sound like my kids.
There is no need for that, okay? No need.
I look like what's his name? Quaid, not Dennis Quaid. What's the other? Randy Quaid from Christmas Vacation, when they come out and he's in his banana hammock emptying the shitter into the that's me on
stop talking now.
It's me on a daily basis.
Oh God. Yeah. So basically Louise is all like, we're still gonna set it up. We're gonna hold all of these kids hostage because we've got enough influential kids that they're gonna fucking give us what we want. And then the FBI's like, we don't give terrorists what they want.
No.
There's a lot of back and forth about that. God bless Dr. Robert Gould, the headmaster. He keeps trying to have class. He's teaching people things.
Yeah. The students, under Billy's leadership, use their expertise in skirting authority to collect tactical information about the occupying forces, with which Billy covertly brings to authorities on the outside. This was good writing. Not this part, but I mean the movie. Or good enough that when something comes up, it was referenced at some point before.
Mm.
So nothing seems pulled out of just thin air. It happens a lot, and I get it. A lot of morons make movies, and you get to a spot in the movie where you have to pull a plot point out of your ass. And this movie did kind of make sure everything was on the up and up. And don't get me wrong.
What? Go ahead.
I was going to say, don't get me wrong. I enjoy many a movie where things just happen because the story needed it to happen. But I appreciate when the effort or the foresight is taken to give explanation to the situation.
Yeah, I always appreciate that too, because what I really like, especially about this movie, it's like that conversation about what we can do to your camera just doesn't want to stay.
No, I think it's on it's still slightly moving, isn't it? I can kind of tell. No, maybe not. Okay.
And no, not right now.
All right.
But yeah, they're all crammed into like smaller rooms because obviously there aren't enough terrorists for them to all stay in their own rooms. So they're sharing a room with two like lower class. There are like 6 kids to a room. And Joey is like, there's one guy down the hall and he's got a machine gun or an automatic weapon. Like we'll take him out and then we can just kill everybody with the gun. And they're like, are you stupid? We're all going to die. And this was what I appreciated about this movie. The kids, while heroic, are not stupid heroic.
Yeah.
Like they're not pulling SEAL Team 6 bullshit.
No, they have limitations.
Yeah. And they're like, we can collect all the information. We can run it out to the people and they can come and rescue us. Like all we need to know is where they are, what they've got. And then we'll just send the information out and it'll be fine. And everybody's like, yeah, that sounds reasonable because then we don't actually have to shoot any guns. And I'm like, doesn't that sound reasonable? That's amazing. And that's what I appreciate about this movie the most. It's not kids running around being spies.
Yeah. So the army bars him from returning, but he escapes with Parker's encouragement and rejoins the students just in time to be counted, preventing the killing of Gould and 4 students in response. Yeah, it was good because as he's trying to get back and he falls into the creek soaking himself. I don't know where he got the towel from, but
that towel was from when he left. because
Oh,
he had
was
it
it?
wrapped
Okay.
around his arm when he broke
Oh,
the
that's right.
window,
There you go.
and then he used it to keep the window open.
That's right.
Because they did a close up of that towel, and you're like, wow, you're really holding.
Yeah, you
You
really
really
want
want
us
us
to
to know that there's a towel there.
yeah, right over my head, but good for you. Some people got it.
So he runs with all the info, runs it across, and then the army's like, nah, man, you got to stay. We got to certify who you are. And I'm like, are you telling me you don't have like profiles of every student that's been taken hostage by now? You have the dean there, and then
Yeah.
the dean's like, yeah. And then when he finally gets out, I appreciate how he did it. It was very, very like
Yeah, he was
teenager like.
in the shower. Yeah.
Yeah, he gets in the shower and then he comes up and he's like, I'm sorry, I was in the shower. And I'm
Yeah.
sure
Well, I got the shit beat out of him for it, but 5 people lived, so
I mean, what's a little corporal punishment? It's fine
Yeah.
because he was talking about the private school that Luis was talking about the private school that he went to.
Yeah.
And that's how they punished
And that's how
people.
they did it. Yeah.
And I was like, maybe that's why you're a little bit crazy
Yeah.
and a little
Although
slow
you
on the uptake. You keep showing up places after the person you're there for leaves.
I drop my kids off at school and look around and go, a lot of these kids should be beating the shit out of.
You're
Yep.
not supposed to say that out loud.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's why I get
FYI.
dirty looks
Yes.
because I roll down the window. You should be beating the shit out of
It's okay. I say that-
morons. Drive
I
away.
say I say that sometimes when I see like, you know, those kids with the parents where the parents don't do anything and they're like, they're just rambunctious. I'm like, no, your kid's an asshole.
Yeah, your kid's an idiot.
And I'm not
a
saying
moron.
you should beat it out of them, but I'm saying maybe you should think about it.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it. You should beat them.
Don't stop saying that.
Beat
You're
them
not
to the
supposed
white
to beat kids.
Beat them to the white meat shows.
Dude.
That's who was that? Black comedian had a TV show. Takes in his sister's kids because she's a crackhead. Bernie Mac.
Oh, there we go.
That's what he said to them. I'm gonna beat you into the white meat shows.
FYI, that's frowned upon. It's frowned upon.
Yeah, the show was from the 90s.
Yes.
Good old 90s. Joey's father, New Jersey mob boss Albert Trotta, arranges for Joey to be released. Joey, contemptuous of his father, refuses to go. He overpowers a guard, steals a submachine gun, and opens fire on another terrorist, but is killed in the exchange. This was stupid. I mean, I get it, but I don't. I'd be like turning to my friends, Vaya con Diaz, bitches.
Yes, but
strolling out.
you're kind of an asshole, okay?
Yeah.
You're a little bit of an asshole. Joey had a lot of contempt for his father. He did not like what his father did for a living, and he hated being associated with him. So then he finds out that he gets to leave because of who his father is. And I think Luis is the one who really fucked up because he's like, we respect your father.
Yeah, we respect your father.
And he's like, oh, that's nice. The terrorists who have taken all of us hostage and have started killing people respect my father,
Yeah.
who I already hate. So it all made sense because there are moments where you can see he hates being associated with his dad. He also, there was the little kind of slur during
the
one
WAP?
point, the WAP.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, right. That was in there. I forgot about that. It's like, yeah, just don't call me a WAP.
FYI,
It's
you could go
yeah.
down like wherever you are and see and call them like. I mean, if you know them and call them a WAP, and I'm like, okay. Doesn't bother me.
Well, that's, I mean, this is
Were you trying to insult me?
side note, but weird story. There was a point where one of my friends was dating two guys, both named Mike. One was Italian, one was Portuguese. And I would always ask her every week, I'm like, so what's going on in the Wop Chop Wars? Who's winning? And she loved it. And most of the people I know, like, they call me a pork chop. I call them, actually, I don't really call them a
Is
wop.
that what you
I
call
haven't done that.
Portuguese people? Pork chops?
A lot of them call us pork chops, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Some people stand on it being a slur. I'm like, we do eat a lot of pork. So, I mean, I can't really argue with that. I mean, it is what it is. But I don't mind being called a pork chop because whatevs. It's not really an insult. Pork
No.
is delicious.
It's clever
Bacon.
too. White people are
Right?
the best at insulting people.
No, you're not.
Or
It's
not?
cute. No.
No,
you take
I
the insult-
meant not the cute insults. I mean like the really bad insults. The really bad words for people. Like we're
Well,
pretty
yeah,
good at it.
you're super good at slurs.
We're number one.
We're
For slurs,
so good at slurs.
we're the best. We are number one. No one beats us whites.
You should get a
Give us
you
a
should
new
get a
race
plaque.
and culture. Aliens could come visit within an hour. We will have a slur that offends them. And they get mad and leave and never to return with their cure for cancer. And everyone's mad at the whites. But what else is new?
I mean, y'all keep fucking shit up. I say that like I'm not white. I like to call myself immigrant white, so I'm in a different class.
Fair enough.
Anyways, that's not the point. Joey, in his teenage boy feels,
Who didn't look Italian at all. just FYI.
I mean, he kind of looked Italian.
Will Wheaton?
Well, he was a little white kid with dark hair. I know a lot of Italians who
Yeah.
kind of look like him. I mean, it
Yeah,
depends
that's-
where in Italy he's from.
At least he didn't try to do like an accent or something. That would have been horrible.
Sorry, my friend just commented. She's like, haha, that could be taken radically out of context. So much of this podcast could be radically taken out of context.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, so he was
I
having
hope
all the
it is.
feels. I'm surprised we're still here.
Actually, it's probably not taking because whatever you're thinking that I'm thinking or saying, it's probably true. Whatever you think I'm thinking, yeah, it's probably a safe assumption.
Oh god.
I am a middle-aged white dude. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It takes all my energy to subdue my whiteness just to be on here live. I'm just joking. Kind of.
Oh, we've wandered so far off track.
Oh yeah, we're Will Wheaton as the Italian.
Yeah,
Actually, and we did get that scene before where the father was like, "My kid hates me. He doesn't
Yeah.
want anything to do with me, but I love him." So the movie did, and I think we went over this guy who directed this. He did a lot of writing, and I know he did Beverly Hills Cop. I know he did so he's a very good writer, and he wrote this.
Yeah.
So he did the writing, while not Oscar winning, made a lot of sense and helped. There weren't a lot of holes in this movie. There weren't a lot of, well, that doesn't make sense. None of that in this movie.
Yeah.
Where were we? Yeah, we did get so yeah, he got shot. Oh, and Louis tries to impress upon Parker, Louis Gossett Jr., who comes to retrieve the body, that it was an accident. Yeah, he said that a lot. You have to tell them it was an accident.
We didn't mean to do this.
Yeah.
He started it.
Yeah, he started it.
The 16-year-old kid, 15 started it.
Yeah. But the grief-stricken Albert, that's the dad, takes revenge by having Enrique Cali, the father, killed in prison. So a riot
Didn't even
starts.
blink. He didn't even wait.
Nope.
He was like, slit that motherfucker's throat.
Guard, while the riot's kind of going on, opens up all the doors. Guy comes by, slits his throat.
Yep, tosses him over the railing. Peace out.
Down he
Peace
goes.
out, Enrique.
I get it. If my kid died and I had the ability. Very irresponsible though. Like, by doing that, they're gonna kill everyone. But
yeah,
once
but he
your
doesn't
kid's
care
dead-
at that point.
No, my
He
kid's
doesn't
dead.
care.
No.
His kid's dead. He's
Yeah.
done. He's like, I was only in this with you motherfuckers to get my kid out. I tried to get my kid out. Then one of these crazy people shot him. So we're done. He's like, I don't give a fuck.
All right. Where are we? I think you got another message there. Knowing they must act before Louis can learn of his father's death, the authorities undertake a rescue mission. FBI hostage rescue team personnel, trailed by Parker, Louis Gossett Jr., supported by the army and armed with information provided by Billy, assault the school and begin taking out the terrorists. Meanwhile, Billy and his friends sabotage the remote control receiver for the detonator. This was a good scene pre-Mission Impossible, but Mission Impossible type scene replaced the chip in the detonator with the remote control plane. I like this scene.
Honestly, that was probably the most dangerous thing that these kids did. What?
Fuck is up with my camera?
I don't know.
I
it
get a
just
new
went
one.
Maybe your camera's haunted. And it just wants to show the other corner of the room. But anyways,
I'm by myself.
this was the most dangerous scene for the kids. Most of the time, they were literally just doing stuff like delivering food and like making note of what's where and looking at places and okay, that's there. But this was like probably the most Mission Impossible kind of like dangerous thing that they did. And it was literally just climbing through a vent and going into a room. There was one moment where Billy had to hide real quick. But they did switch out the thing, and Snuffy did amazing.
Yeah.
With his faux asthma attack.
Yeah. Yeah. And I loved how they got caught. Like the
Yes.
one kid is supposed to keep their water running and turn it off as guards come in. Excuse me, sorry. So they know to wait. This was stupid because the guard comes in, kid turns it off, but the terrorist just went to the washroom. He's a terrorist, not a fucking barbarian. Of course he's gonna wash his hands. Thoroughly, apparently. Like, this guy was washing hands for a while.
Because the terrorist starts peeing, right? I don't know if that was Carlos or if it was Juan, whoever it was. So the kid stops the water and just stands there for a second.
Yeah. Like
he's like,
gonna
I'm gonna
watch
turn
you
off the
pee.
water, and then the terrorist turns around and kind of looks at him like, the
Yeah.
fuck you doing?
You
So the
mind?
kid's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go. And then he's like, someone's gotta go in there. So he like, I think it was to Ricky, he like waves him in and he's like, okay.
He's
And
still
then
washing his hands. Like this is 30 years before COVID.
yeah, the terrorist is all like, well, now that I have urinated, I must thoroughly wash my hands according to CDC guidelines.
Yeah. Like he was washing them.
He was there for a while. And like, what is it? Billy and Yogurt had time in the thing to stop and be like, do you hear water?
Yeah.
I hear water. Oh, okay, we're safe. And they continue climbing and the water's still running.
Yeah,
The
he's
guy
still
is
washing.
still washing his hands when they finally drop out of the vents.
Yeah. But that was kind of cool. He sees them in the mirror and
Yeah.
tells the one kid, like, shh. The guy comes down. Then
Kid's like,
Ricky
"Well,
or
you're holding a
Ricardo
gun."
comes in and helps, knocks him out.
Yes. They help knock him out. They are fighting for the gun. And the one thing I really appreciate about this movie is they are not coordinated fighters. This
No.
is like little kids scrapping, and
Yeah.
I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, it wasn't like they were
Nobody took 12 years of
MMA
karate.
fighters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They overpower their guards and lead the students and Gold, the headmaster, to a secret basement chamber. That's where they went into the 900 numbers. Overwhelmed, Louis takes Billy at gunpoint and holds him in Gold's office. What about those poor terrorists that stayed outside as the army was pouring into the school and they got trapped under the behind the
Underneath the-
stairs?
Oh, that was
Holy
fantastic.
fucking overkill.
Yeah, they shot one of them. I could tell got shot. I don't know about the second one, but one of them definitely got shot. And then they still threw grenades in there. And I was like,
Yeah.
why are you still trying to blow them?
Yeah, they're
They're
they were still
down.
shooting on the left, right, and in front. I'm like, I think you got them, guys.
But it's funny because when the helicopters came in and dropped off the team, there was one guy who was kind of left behind because he dropped down. He starts running, he falls.
Oh, I
And then
missed
he
that.
gets oh my god, he gets back up and he's literally like 20 feet away from the rest of the team, and he's like, I gotcha.
Yeah,
I
he's
love
bringing
that.
up the rear.
But yeah, basically Luis starts to lose his mind because Billy got everybody basically. They incapacitated the guards.
Yeah, because the demolition guys go in and shoot the two guys up at the 50 caliber.
Yeah.
They
So
hug the wall. The one guy, I guess, had a grenade in his hand and finally drops it, and it luckily.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Louis Gossett picks the one survivor up, helps him. They get to the room. Yeah, the army has pushed Louis and Billy into the last room, the dean's room.
Mhm.
And he's like, guess I lost. And he pushes the button to blow everyone. So he was going to kill everybody.
He was going to kill everybody, and he actually says, "Forgive me, Father,"
Yeah.
in Spanish, and then he presses the button,
And then the plane
and then
starts.
the
That was
plane
pretty funny.
starts like flying, and he's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And then at that point, the army busts in, the dean busts in, and then they're shooting.
Louis Gossett Jr. Like he must have remembered that he was in Iron Eagle, and he jumps through the window.
Breaks through the window, like aims the gun. Luis hits him with a
Yeah.
shot. Then from behind him, the army guys or the military, whichever branch it was, that breaks in, shoots him through the head. And I was like, that is a very close shot of that headshot.
Yeah.
Everybody's bleeding. Billy's like, "Are you okay?" To the dean's
Yeah,
like, "I'm fine." Shot in the
just a
chest,
scratch.
bleeding
Yeah.
profusely. I'm good. Yeah.
Not phased by the guy that just got his head blown off.
Who's still lying there.
Yeah.
Just lying there right next to them. He's in
Yeah,
the
because
shot.
he was tugging on the wires, and
Yeah.
Louis Gossett Jr. looked down to the demolition guy. He's like, "What happens if he pulls the wires?" And the guy's like, "It'll explode."
It all explodes.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh shit." So he jumps through the window. And I was like, "Thank you for giving me that reason that you finally jumped through the window." Like
Yeah.
he's trying. And you could see it was good. I was like, this is a real can't believe I'm about to say this is a realistic action movie. To a degree.
To a degree, yes. That type of stuff, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
anyways.
Here we go. Wikipedia. He presses the button on his gadget, but due to Billy's machinations, only activates a toy airplane. Parker and Commandos converge on Louis and Billy. Louis wounds Parker, but Billy elbows him in the abdomen, giving Commando the chance to shoot Louis, killing him. Yeah, not even phased by the guy getting shot in the head beside him. With Parker's wound bandaged, he and Billy gain a better understanding of each other. In the end, the students are freed, the surviving terrorists are arrested, and Billy joyously reunites with his friends. And that is our movie.
Yes, and I only had one issue. All the students leave the school, and nobody's corralling them.
No,
they're just letting them out. And I'm like, I'm waiting for parents to come running up to the kids. Something. Nothing. Just kids running out.
Yeah.
I was like, that feels very unsafe.
All right. So, what is your score for Toy Story?
Buy it.
I could tell you knew this movie like
the back of my hand.
Yeah, it's like you knew it line by line.
Well, I will say before I watched it, because I watched it today. And I had completely forgotten about the first part of the movie. Like everything that happens in Colombia, I forgot that even existed. So that whole part of the movie was almost new to me. I was like, "Oh my God, I forgot this." Like, oh, what happens? The simple fact is, it's a well-written, well-plotted out movie, which is really helpful when you're doing a slightly silly action movie, which is what this is. Every action movie has a little bit of silliness to it. It's written in the rules of action. They always have bad guys who shoot like 55 million bullets, but none of them hit the hero. Things like that always happen. They jump from building to building, but nobody gets hurt. This one was a little bit more realistic, and it's a little bit silly, but the kids are kind of the heroes, but not the direct heroes. They're smart heroes. So they help where they can, and they understand their limitations. So other than Joey, nobody's trying to grab guns and like do things without help, which I appreciate. It's a fun movie. There's some action. There's really great performances from not just the younger actors, but also the older ones. It did a really great job of establishing the relationship between the students who are friends and the teachers and the staff, so that it does you feel for everybody.
Yeah.
Like even when that teacher that we don't see anywhere, but he tries to stop the one kid who's trying to call 911 from getting killed, you feel for him.
Yeah, because he's part of the school.
Yeah. And then, you see the headmaster who's like, "Oh, or the dean who says, "Oh my God, that looks like so-and-so. Oh my God." And it adds a bit of humanity to it. It was still a fun ride. It was a fun ride. It was a little bit ridiculous, and it had a little bit of like teenage boy humor to it, which I can always appreciate, because there's nothing better than watching someone hark up a loogie into a cup of coffee or food.
Oh, yeah.
Oh God. That scene made me disgusted. But anyways, it's fun and it's classic. And even though it takes place in the 90s and it's very obviously of that time, it's still a good time, and it doesn't feel like it runs at almost 2 hours. So buy it. What's your rating?
My score. This was so unrealistic. The story and the kids, but it was very realistic in terms of the action. But this is why I remember liking it. This was also a movie for kids that was rated R. It is not an R-rated movie today. Go ahead, watch it with your kids. I'm not saying it's a Disney cartoon. No, okay, wait. No, there was the swearing and the masturbation and the phone sex. Maybe you don't want to watch it with them, but you can let them watch it. But this is why I remember liking it. The action is 90s and it's really good. The acting is good from our main actors. There's some extras and small bit parts that were meh. But if you remember liking Toy Soldiers, you probably will enjoy yourself. But be forewarned, a lot of that will come from nostalgia because the story is a little ridiculous and silly. I give it a solid rental, a regular rental. It was worth the rental price to go back and watch this. I just can't justify buying it. Will I watch it again? Down the road, if I see it streaming, probably. Further down the road, I may come across it and rent it again. But if you haven't seen it in a while, Toy Soldiers is a capable, if not familiar, action movie that sets itself apart with its young actors in a pretty violent outing. It's just a silly, fun action movie. I liked it. I really did like it.
See, I always run on the premise that every action movie is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, none of them are realistic.
Yeah.
Like, it is what it is. So my only thing is, but does it make sense? Like, does the movie as you present it to me make sense? And this one does.
And
so,
this one
I mean,
is, I think, a bit above average because the students and the setting and the realistic the way the situations play out are pretty realistic.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous premise and it's silly,
of course it is.
But yeah, it was pretty good. I had a lot of fun watching it.
Yeah, it's a good time.
There is no trivia because there was hardly any trivia, and the trivia that there was stupid.
That does not surprise me at all. Although I will say this, I actually have the Hollywood Suite streaming service. And I noticed today that they have a movie on there that I have not seen in forever.
It suggested to me because I watched it today, and the movie was Pump Up the Volume.
Yes.
It was suggested or coming up next or something like that on Hollywood. Yeah,
literally.
I have not seen that movie in so long, and that's one of the ones I remember as a kid.
It's one of the hardest movies to find.
I wanted to get a radio thing and start broadcasting my own stupidity. I'm glad I didn't.
No, now you just get on the internet and do it.
Oh yeah, now you can. Yeah, everyone can do it. Yeah. Now I
I
project
saw
my
it there,
stupidity out
and I
into
was
the
like,
world.
that was one of my favorite like, I love that movie, but they hardly ever aired it. And it's almost impossible to find. Like, I've looked for DVDs, couldn't find them. Or if I did, it was like $50. And I was like, what? I found some that were like PAL. And I was like, I don't have a PAL DVD player. Thanks. But yeah. So now I finally saw it on there and I was like, I need to check with Jimmy. Are we planning on doing this for the podcast or can I watch
think we
it?
should. Yeah, no, I think we should do that one.
After
Maybe
Halloween?
November. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think we do a couple before we start doing 2 or 3 before we start doing Christmas ones.
Yeah. Well, we have our election special.
Yeah.
And then after that we can do Pump. So I wanted to check in with you to see if I could watch Pump Up the Volume tonight or not. And that's fine if I can't. I've already watched Friday the 13th since it is Friday the 13th. I've also watched Halloween H2O, even though it's supposed to be H20, it's H2O to me. Because I was going to be leaving Netflix soon. And now I'm probably going to go watch I Know What You Did Last Summer. And I still know what you did last summer.
Wow.
Just to finish off my cheesy, terrible 90s, 2000s, or actually just I think 2000s, late 90s, horror movies. That's what I'm going to do.
I have to go play Fortnite with my 6-year-old.
I mean, that does sound like fun. So good for you.
It's not because she just tells me what to do and it's not fun at all. Actually, she wants to watch Wednesday, so I get to do that this weekend. I have never seen Wednesday yet, so
I haven't seen it yet either.
No.
I will get around to it.
Did you see Beetlejuice?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Me neither.
I don't
It
think I'm
won't
gonna
be
make it this week. I might make it next week. I finally saw Abigail last week.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Not $30 good that I paid
No,
for it,
I
but
waited until it was streaming, and included in my Prime membership, and I appreciate that so much. But yeah, no, it was pretty good. It's pretty good.
I enjoyed it. Yeah, it's good. All right. Well, thank you for joining us and to talk about Toy Soldiers 1991. And until the next movie we remember liking, and that is next week, is going to be Masters of the Universe from 1987. He-Man.
That'll be a fun one.
Yeah, that is going to be a very fun one. I don't.
Lord.
Yeah. Well, we'll wait till next week. All right. That's it.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.